So for those of you who didn't see my video explaining what the Amazon Associates program is and how it's going to work with this channel, let me do a brief recap on that for a moment. So Amazon has created a program called the Amazon Associates program that helps YouTube creators such as myself in a way to monetize our channel. Because as you probably know, YouTube has become stricter and stricter about what they want to monetize on YouTube for their platform. It's becoming very hard for YouTube creators to make money from their videos the way they used to, or to grow their channels with income the way that they used to. The reason why is they're saying it's not advertiser friendly. Point in case, when you report the subjects that mainstream media doesn't talk about, it's not advertiser friendly. So they won't monetize your videos. So if you do shopping on Amazon, if you make purchases, you go to the link below, you click on it, it takes you to Amazon just like you normally would go to Amazon. You can then search for whatever product it is you wanted to buy, and by making that purchase after clicking on the link, this channel will get a commission of that sale. And it is a great way to help support this channel and help us spread our message and grow this channel so that we can reach more and more people out there. So we thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoy the video. No surprise here, but Elizabeth Warren has been caught in yet another lie. Now, the footage that we're about to review, I'm not exactly sure when this speech she was giving was, or how recent her new version of this story is, but it is a very clear contradiction to her old version of this story. I don't want to spoil very many of the details, but when you see what I'm about to show you and go over, I hope you might be able to see just why, no matter what this lady says, I can't trust her. I really can't. I cannot trust her, because it's lies like this that she's been doing, whether it be about her Native American heritage, you know, X, Y, and Z, man. I'm fully convinced that Elizabeth Warren is one of those people who has a public position and a private position. So let's just go ahead and review the footage.
Teaching special needs kids is a calling, but I finished the first year visibly pregnant, and back in those days, it meant you didn't get invited back.
Okay. Valid point. You can actually find some things like this even addressed in old sitcoms such as All in the Family. Gloria became pregnant. She had a job at, I think it was a department store, but because she was very visibly pregnant, they ended up firing her and sending her home. Why? Because back in those days, there was a very, I guess what you could call misogynistic view on who women were and what women should be. Women were looked at either more of one of two ways a lot of the times back in those days. From what I've gathered, obviously this is before my time, but just from, I'm a big studier of history, okay? And from the things that I've picked up on, women were either looked at as the housewives. You had the old, male chauvinist people who would sit around, a woman should be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. Okay, you had that view, and then you had the view when they finally started getting more out and about, you're either that or you're going to be this nice, hot, good-looking sex symbol. But those are your two roads, basically. Now, obviously, not every woman wanted to follow one of those two roads, but if by some chance you became pregnant, there was just this consensus that, oh, a woman with a big belly who waddles when she walks doesn't exactly look good to any male customers or, male guests or whatever, and it just doesn't look right, and we don't want that image. We don't want that image. So I'm sure the same thing did apply when it came to the school classroom. This is not a defense of it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's horrible that that's one of the things that we had to go through as a society and that women had to go through. But nonetheless, it is a valid part in history. So when she brings this point up, I say, okay, well, hey, Liz, I'm sorry that happened to you. But it's just one problem. There's just one problem. In 2007, she talked about this issue then. Now you can tell there's a huge time difference here, because this looks like the Elizabeth Warren that's running for president right now. She's got the glasses on, X, Y, and Z. Now let's go to this 2007 footage. You can tell doesn't look the same as present day Elizabeth Warren. And what did she have to say about why she was no longer teaching special needs kids? Let's see what she says.
That's how it was. So
it was in a public school system, but I worked with the children with disabilities. And I did that for a year. And then that summer, I actually didn't have the education courses. So I was on an emergency certificate, it was called. And I went back to graduate school and took a couple of courses in education and said, I don't think this is going to work out for me.
Whoa! Wait a minute. So, Elizabeth Warren today is giving us this message that would resonate with our emotions, pull at our heartstrings, and she's telling us that she was visibly pregnant after that first year of teaching. And back in those days, you just probably got sent home and you didn't get to come back if that was the case. And everyone would hear that message and say, wow, that really is sad. That's horrible. We hate that you went through that. But Elizabeth Warren, 12 years ago, she says she didn't have all the classes to do that line of work. They called her in on an emergency certificate or something. She did the 1 year, went back to school, and then, I don't think this is going to work out for me. So wait a minute, Liz. There's nothing in there about you being pregnant. There's nothing in there about, the school telling you can't come back. It was your decision to not come back. But present day, you blame it on the school and being pregnant and this and that. Now, what's the big point here? Well, obviously, if you haven't picked up on it yet, it's her credibility, her honesty. She lies. And do you think for 1 second that for all the people out there who don't like President Trump, who want President Trump to be a one-term president, that if this is your nominee, he won't stand on a stage and take her from here to here just like he did with Hillary Clinton? All the lies. Of course, she could try to fire back with Trump's lies and this and that. But did it work in 2016? No. Trump's base is very loyal to Trump. They're going to stay loyal to Trump unless he does something to just slap them all in the face and basically tell them, screw you, I don't care if you vote for me or not. Well, I don't see him doing that. Okay? But when he gets on the stage and starts pointing out all these lies, all this back and forth wishy-washy crap with Elizabeth Warren, he's going to chew her up and eat her for breakfast. Plain and simple. He'd do the same thing to Joe Biden. And look what Tulsi exposed on Kamala Harris. You think he wouldn't do the same thing to her either? Of course he would. I don't see Elizabeth Warren having a chance against Trump. I really don't. And this is why. There's too much ammunition. The Native American issue, I'm sure if he saw it, he would bring this up. I mean, he would have all the firepower he needs for Elizabeth Warren. And I don't think she really has enough firepower to take Trump down. I just don't think she does. I don't think she does. I think she comes across a little too corny. I don't think it's going to resonate. And he's going to just expose all this stuff. Now, does that mean he's going to sway any of her voters to vote for him? No. But when he's pointing out just how much of a flawed candidate she is and how much can you really trust her, what's her real credibility, while he's doing all that, what he's going to do is he's going to rally his base up. They're like, yeah, we got to get out and vote. Keep her out of office. Her base may lose a little bit of support, but even her diehard fans would probably still come out and vote. But the Democrats as a whole and the left-wing voters and independents even that lean left-wing would then sit there and say, really, again, we're having to choose between this and this. Screw it, I'm just not even going to go vote. They won't have a candidate they can stand behind with confidence, in which case it would result in low voter turnout, especially for the Democratic candidate, if it should be Elizabeth Warren. When you get the low voter turnout, two terms, Trump will be a two-term president. Plain and simple. This impeachment business, he's going to use that to his favor too. They're lining Trump up with all the right ammunition for the coming election. And if they keep this up and somebody like Warren gets the nomination, two terms. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm calling it now. This sort of thing right here is what's going to hand Trump the next election. And now I would like to show you just one more clip that really emphasizes just how flawed someone like Elizabeth Warren could be and just how big of a lie she could possibly really be telling to the American people, even right now as she's on a debate stage. Maybe this is why she won't answer the question about taxes being raised for Medicare for all. I thought maybe it was good political acumen saying I'm not going to raise taxes because that wouldn't go over well. Or maybe it could be because of this.
There is a concern as well that's expressed by some establishment Democrats that she is too far left.
I think that's let's just wait. For example, Medicare for all, asked me, how do you feel about that? I said, I think what we need to do first is let's make sure Obamacare is strengthened again. Mm-hmm. Republicans have done everything they can to hurt it.
Yeah, Republicans have done a lot to try to hurt Obamacare, just by the way, but Obamacare was flawed from the very beginning. Again, you didn't give us what you said you were going to give us. To start with, it was compromised out to the Republicans from day one when you had an over 60 vote majority in the Senate and a majority in the House. You know, Democrats had the House, had the Senate, had the White House. Yet you had to wheel and deal with Republicans. Yeah.
We almost got the public option the first time. That's as good as Medicare for all anyway.
I think someone needs to tell Harry Reid, and by the way, for those of you who haven't figured out who this is in the clip, this is former Democrat leader Harry Reid. Okay? Harry Reid may not be in office anymore, but it's very clear he's still either in someone's pocket or he is really, 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 really stupid. Now, I say that even though Tulsi Gabbard has come out for the public option thing recently, I wouldn't say Tulsi Gabbard's in someone's pocket or stupid. Again, I think some people just see the moral reasoning behind not wanting to do Medicare for all, having to spend the money on everyone. If, you know, those who don't want it, so they don't have to take it. Or in other words, we're not forcing the product on people. But again, as we've covered on this channel many times, that's going to destabilize the whole system. The poor and the sick will get pawned off to the government. The rich and the healthy will be in the private insurance. They won't be paying into the system. It'll be only the sick and the poor paying into it, resulting in it being underfunded and overused. The risk won't be spread around, and the whole thing's going to go kaput. Okay? So, it is not just as good as Medicare for All, Harry Reid. That's just false. Completely false. Okay?
And so,
That's not what she's saying.
well, but I think you give her
And you notice he said, well, she's not saying it's the same thing. What's Harry Reid's response?
some time. I think that she's not in love with that. I think you'll wait and see how that all turns out.
So you think she's more pragmatic than...
Oh, I know she's pragmatic. Just wait.
I know she's more pragmatic. Now, this clip was used on Secular Talks video as well. Kyle Kulinski, he covered this a few days ago. And he had the same reaction to seeing this clip that I'm about to have. This sounds like a man, a political insider on the Democratic Party who has been in touch with Elizabeth Warren. And he knows she's got that position behind closed doors that no one else has heard yet. Unless, of course, they're another insider. But certainly not people like me or you. No. We have yet to hear this position. When will we hear this position? Well, we might hear it if she gets a nomination, because she's probably going to move that goalpost to say, oh, well, there's a reason I never could give an answer before. And the more I've examined it, I really do believe that we should have a public option system, because that works the best for everyone, and then everyone has to pay, and you don't have to take the health care away from those who want to keep their own plan, and blah, blah. That's what I see coming. That's what I see coming. And clearly, so does Harry Reid. And you sit there and say, well, how do you know? Go back to the other clips. She's a flip-flopper. Very clear, very plain. You can't trust any of her positions, because she will say one thing one day, say one thing another day. Now, you might say, well, there's a lot of politicians who do that. They all flip-flop. Trump flip-flop, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. And what shape is this country in through a lot of those politicians' leadership? They flip-flop, and right now, we are in a load of debt, in a lot of wars we should never have been in. Jobs were lost because of these bad free trade deals, because they're sitting there telling us they're going to make a trade deal that's great for the country when it was just great for their donors, special interests and private business, so they could outsource their jobs and make more money for themselves while pissing all over the American workers. Yes, of course, many politicians have had two different positions, and they have wrecked and ruined the country with them. So that's not really a good defense in my book. So, once again, for all the people out there who think that Elizabeth Warren is the path, she's the way, and she's the one to beat Trump, while I might understand where some people hear her message and can resonate with some of the things she says, again, I just want you to think for a moment. How much can you really trust Elizabeth Warren at the end of the day? Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and like the video. Also, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask, or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop a comment in the comment box below. And also, please subscribe to the channel, and if you do subscribe, ring that bell so you'll stay up to date when we drop new videos and you'll get notifications of it. And also, please support us on Patreon. Funds are going to be used to grow and improve this channel so we can reach more and more people and spread the message that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell people. We hope you'll tune in next time.